So when we talk about activity versus productivity, and I hate to give our colleague credit, but we have a colleague that says this all the time.
We hate the fact that we're doing this, by the way.
And he talks about this concept all the time. And to me, if you're only going to take away one thing from this entire book, if you didn't hear anything else we said from this book, I think this segment is probably the biggest piece of gold that you could hold on to. And I'll explain why more here in a second. But from the book, he says, it's easy to get bogged down trying to find the optimal plan for change, the fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for a side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. I refer to this as the difference between being in motion and taking action. The two ideas sound similar, but they're not the same. When you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I actually sit down and write an article, that's action. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go talk to the personal trainer, the motion will never get you in shape. Only the action of working out will get the result you're looking to achieve. If motion doesn't lead to results, why do we do it? Now, this section talked to me big time. If motion doesn't lead to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan or learn more. That's a good thing, right? You need to plan, you need to learn. But more often than not, and this one's talking to me, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running into the risk of failure. Most of us are experts at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. And that's the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action. You want to delay failure. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. This is the first takeaway of the third law. You just need to get your reps in. What you think?
It's not just speaking to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran through
that punched me right in the forehead.
As you were reading that, I'm literally running through like 3 scenarios in my head personally.
What are some scenarios? Name one, because I have one as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just do fitness, right? It's okay. Hey, I'm going to, and I did start a little less than a year ago, really consistently working out again, like on a plan, part of a community. So that's been good, but I've not taken over. It's okay. Hey, what's my meal and my nutrition going to do? Because I have not affected. That has not been affected. Like I haven't changed that at all. What am I going to do personally? What's my side hustle? And I keep talking about, we've got the podcast and we love this, but it's like, what am I really doing? And it's like, I'm planning, I'm thinking I'm this, but I'm not actually taking action, but I feel like I'm busy on it. And I feel like my day is busy, but am I up at 4:00, spending an hour and a half before I work out? I was watching TV last night and I'm like, okay, it's 8:30. I literally I could get 2 hours of work done right now, but I'm watching TV.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, that actually ties into the habit of watching TV is easy, and that's why you do it. It's much more difficult to go focus your attention on your day job or the podcast, right?
Yeah.
But it's so easy just to sit there and watch TV, and that's what he's talking about. That's why it's become a habit, because it's the and we're actually going to talk about. He calls it the law of least effort. We're going to get that in here in a second, but that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
The least effort is to sit there and watch TV. Yeah. The harder effort is to actually get up and do work.
Justifying it like, I need to recover because I'm tired.
Oh, yeah, I do that too. The example I think of, and I've mentioned this before, a habit that I want to improve upon in the new year is my business development habit. Yeah. And we say this all the time, but for those of you who are new, our day job is in the commercial real estate industry. And it's a sales job is what it is. Yeah. And so obviously, like any sales job, you have to do cold calling, warm calling. You have to prospect is what we call it. It's basically the act of trying to get new business. And it's very easy in our industry. Like one of the things they call it walking the market is the term that they use. And that's basically Like for me, I focus on big warehouses, and you know, you see all these industrial projects wherever you live. I'm sure you see big warehouses. Walking the market would be going door to door of those warehouses and trying to talk to whoever makes those decisions at that warehouse of, you know, their future real estate needs. And so that's what we call walking the market. So for me, a real easy motion is driving the market, which these markets are huge. I mean, you're talking 150, 200 companies in a small little area.
Yeah.
And so what's easy for me to do and feel like I'm accomplishing something is driving around and writing down the tenant names. So I look at the sign, and so I'll write that down. Because in my head, I'm justifying saying,
you're making a
I'm
plan.
going to make my plan, I'm going to make my list. I need to know who I'm calling, right? So I'm going to write all these companies down, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to research who the right. Instead of actually getting out of my car, going and knocking on the door, talking to a person, and trying to get information. That's scary to me, right? That's uncomfortable. I'm taking a risk when I do that. But that's the action that's actually going to get me and help my business develop. Me driving around, writing down names, that's a step, but that is 100% motion. That's not getting me towards my goal of developing my business. I actually have to get out of the car, go make myself uncomfortable, and go talk to people. So think about you, whatever, you know, as you're listening to this, whatever your job is, whatever goal you're after. For me, that's what speaks to me is action versus motion. So that's a very real example. So I challenge you to sit here and think about, what are you doing in your life? What motions are you going? You know, they call it going through the motions. What things are you comfortably going through, as opposed to taking the harder step that's actually going to get you to where you're. So I love that he starts this chapter off with that idea, which is, hey, all those things are great. The planning, the process, all that's good. But until you actually take action, you're not getting where you want to go.
That's right.